The question that I keep getting over and over again in Throne of Liberty is, Spit, can you tell me your build? Can you show me your build? What build are you using? In my chat, in the DMs, everywhere, absolutely everywhere. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys a Crusader build. I did make a build a few months ago. However, that is outdated. And this is going to be more of a PvE build than PvP build because a lot of stuff in the game is PvE focused. We're getting new raids. We're getting new dimensional trials that are coming very soon. But I will also be making a new PvP video build when battlegrounds are up. But this is going to be a PvE build, everything that you guys need to know. So let's just jump into it. All right, we got to start up with the gear. Now, this is the gear that I would possibly tell people to use. Now, this is not like a full how I want people to play because some of the pieces are gear pieces I already have on my character. So if I guys show you guys some of the stuff, you will see that some of the gear pieces that I have, I don't want to replace. So that's why some of them are not the gear that I would probably run if I were you guys. But I will show you guys the changes that I would do to the gear myself if I were to swap or change everything or anything at all. So the first thing that I kind of want to take a look at here is the biggest question that people will have is what kind of heroic weapons should you use? Now, I will tell everybody to always go for the Greatsword. In my opinion, the Greatsword is better. It's more versatile. You can do many things with it. You can build it many different type of way. If you're ever going to change your build anything, having Greatsword is always good. Good to swap over to Gladiator if you want to play Gladiator. But overall, the Greatsword is just really good. I don't like the heroic GS in my opinion. I think even though it can give like good cooldown speed, but overall the heroic Greatsword is just much better. So I would go for the GS, and then for the heroic gear piece is for PvP. I would probably go for the cloak, but for PvE, this helmet is absolutely insane. It has a really good stats, wisdom cooldown speed as base stats, and then you can see that it can get really good heroic effects here too. So you guys can, build it like you want to, but the main base stats are just nasty on it. So that's why I would tell you if you guys are PvEing, go for the Visage. It's extremely good. So those are the main important things that you should get is the helmet and the Greatsword. And then for your next piece that is going to be important is the Imperial set. You want to get the two-piece Imperial set. And the reason why you want to get the Imperial set is because many of the bonuses, set effects are not really good for PvE tanking. But this one will give you critical damage on each melee critical hit. And it can stack. And so these two pieces are really good. You can either get, I would usually go for the chest and pants, but you can go for the boots too if you want to like build something different, but just get the two set. Definitely get the chest. It gives crit, heavy attack, and dexterity, which is pretty nasty. And then you can get the pants, and then you want to get the violet demonic beast fur boots because of the attack speed. It's really nice to have and gives double stats. For your gloves, you can go for the Transcendent Tempest Touch. You can change it out, but attack speed again is really nice. If having enough attack speed and high attack speed is really good. But the main important thing is the Imperial 2 set, and anything else you can basically go with whatever you have or whatever you else want to change to. There's a lot of the sets out there, but you don't need any other set bonuses. So you can just go for like a single piece, whichever gives better base stats. So that's what I would do for the gear. I don't have it right now. If you guys look at my gear right now, is I have this gear, and it's because I don't want to change yet, and this gear works good too, which is the Auric Vanguard set, because the fortitude over 50, since I have 50 fortitude, I can get the base damage increase, which will help me a little bit more damage. But you can see my dexterity is pretty low. You kind of want it a little bit higher. So that's the biggest issue with the Vanguard set. You can run it, and I tank everything, right? I do Dimensional Trials up to level 20, no problem. The Rage, no problem. I can solo tank every single thing. But if I want to min-max a little bit more, I would go for the Dexterity bonuses. And I think the Dexterity bonus is pretty good. Having enough, getting up to 80 Dexterity is going to be really good for you damage-wise. So you want to make sure you're tanky enough, so you don't need more tankiness. And then for accessories, overall is you want to have the Bracelet of Violent Undertow. I'm not using any Nebula stuff because I don't get lucky. You guys can use Nebula stuff if you guys want to, but if you're not using Nebula stuff, I would go for the Bracelet of Violent Throw. It gives wisdom, perception, critical hit is pretty nice to have. And then I'm using Primal Ritual Collar, cooldown speed even more, strength and wisdom. You can swap it out for a different color if you want to, maybe one of the upgrade ones or a Nebula one, but I use the Primal Ritual Collar. I think it's really nice with the cooldown speed and all. For the rings itself, Ruined Band of Anvil is nice. You can swap out maybe the Ring of Eternal Flames for something else, maybe a Nebula one, but in my opinion, I think I do like it. It's cheap, it's easy, it gives good stats, like the stat bonuses. You get triple attribute stats and crit hit, and while this triple attributes and heavy attack, I think is a really good pairing. For the earrings, the reason I went for the earrings of Forlorn Elegance is because usually when you're tanking, you're in front of the boss, having front heavy attack, front hit, and front critical. You don't need front hit. You could probably go for something like side critical, but just go for whatever, because usually when you're tanking, you're in front of the boss, so it's really good for PvE damage overall. And then for the belt, I would probably go for a different belt. I just went for this belt because it's the one I'm wearing right now. It gives wisdom and strength. But you could probably go for one of the Nebula ones, really good belts out there. So you can swap it out if you want to for a different belt, whichever goes for good for your stats. But that's the one I'm using. Like Hero Legacy is good. It gives attack speed, dex, and strength. So I would probably just swap it to Hero Legacy if you wanted something cheap. Or you can go for I think one of the Nebula ones, the Belt of Nightmaster, maybe gives good help, but just one attribute set. So it's up to you guys, but I would probably not go for the Cunning Ogre. One is more of a PvP belt with a heavy attack evasion. So if you guys want to, probably go for the Hero Legacy War Belt. I should probably swap to, but you know, it gives max health too. So I'm probably going to swap to the Hero Legacy, but yeah, go for that. So that is the gear that I want to have. So this is what I want to be using. And now let's just look at what I have currently, which is this gear. And again, I have the weapon. Also, let's talk about the weapon real quick before we go into this. Is you guys are probably asking, Spid, what should I use for my passive on my weapon? Now, I put per kilo cruelty. I think per kilo cruelty is really good. The cruel smite damage is really nice to have. It does really good damage. However, if you're playing more of a support tank, you want to buff your team, that's the one I have right now. A Greya, I'm probably going to swap it out. But on Da Vinci, instead of Hell Region, you will give base damage increase, which is really nice. So everybody inside, when you use Da Vinci, will get base damage increase, which is, I think, is huge. Is a really good support passive. But I think Pakila Cruelty is really nice damage wise. Judgment Wave, you can go for Judgment Wave. I do kind of like it for like mobs and even bosses. It does good damage. But in my opinion, I just think Pakila Cruelty is a little bit better. So I would go for Pakila Cruelty if you guys can. It pairs up really nice. With the runes overall and resonant effect, go for HP. Always go for HP. HP is the one stat that doesn't diminish. It's always gives you HP, and a lot of skills depends on your HP. So some skills are like you heal 10% of your HP, and if you have insane amount of HP, it will heal way more, right? So always go for HP runes. If you have chaos runes, probably put them in the yellow rune, or just go for skill damage resist. And for a red rune, I will probably go for heavy attack if you have low heavy attack, or skill damage boost if you have skill damage boost. That's what I would do with the runes. But yeah, my current build right now is definitely gonna get some changes done to it. I'm probably gonna swap out some of the gear pieces, and as you guys can see, I still have some magic endurance trait resonance, and that's because I used to build magic endurance for PvP, but for PvE, go for max health. It's overall just a good juicy thing to do, and will help you out. So that is the gear that I would build. It's cheap. It's not that hard to get. Most of it is pretty good price range. So that's the gear. And now we got to talk about the skills. Skills is probably one of the most important things right now. And when it comes to the skills, there are certain skills that you have to use. You have to use. Now, when it comes to bosses, not mobs, bosses, a certain most of the dungeons raids, the main most important skills to have is Wool Breaker. Wool Breaker is extremely strong. It nerfs the defense of bosses or monsters, which lets your team do way more damage to it. So Wool Breaker is a must to have. It's also very good to use Will Breaker. You can also have aggro max aggression. If you use this, you will 100% get aggro for a short period of time if you use Will Breaker with this. But just Will Breaker originally, you don't need to have the damage area because that's only good for the mobs, more trash mobs. But for bosses, just use Will Breaker like this. Doesn't need any specialization. So Will Breaker is a must to have. Second, Cruel Smite. If you're using the Pakilonaro passive, you have to have this. Does really good damage, high amount of damage, even more damage against monsters. So overall, a really good attack and damage skill to have. And after you can have this one on it after skill is used, damage increase. So overall, really strong skill. So this skill is only a must if you use Pakilo Naru passive. Next, must to have skill. You don't need to have Death Blow. Depending on what kind of weapon you're running. If you have, one of the stronger passives from the arc bosses, you kind of want to have Death Blow, but it's not that must. So main important is Will Breaker. These are only if you have the passive. Next, more important skill is Precision Dash. Precision Dash is one of the most important skills inside the game for a tank because it lets you move around when you have to do mechanics on certain bosses or raids or anything. You can move really fast to a position or back to a position because as a tank, your job is to hold the boss still as much as you can. But sometimes you have to do mechanics. So Precision Dash will help you. And if you pair it up with Barbarian Dash, you'll move. Movement speed is really high, and not only that, it pairs really good with my weapon mastery. It's saved me a bunch of times, which is Blade Harvest. It restores 10% of damage that's held after using a movement skill. So when I use it and then I do damage, a high amount of damage, it actually heals me. It's extremely strong. And sometimes, like if you do get a crit or a heavy attack or whatever, after Precision Dash, if you follow it up with like a Guillotine or Gaia Crash or Death Blow or whatever, it actually heals you to full, which is really good with that passive. So I would always tell people to use Precision Dash. You don't need Ascending Slash and Guillotine, but I would use it because it does do really a decent amount of damage if you build 80 dex. But the main required skills are Will Breaker, Precision Dash right now. And then for the main important skill is you need to have Immortal Pride, and please, when you have Immortal Pride, make sure you have the All Defense one. All Defense gives you insane amount of defense increase, which is really strong when you're fighting bosses that do absolutely no damage when it's active. And then you can use Health Regen if you want, and you can do Skill Mana Reduction. I honestly don't need Skill Mana Reduction because I get so much mana back, but it's up to you. I would not use the barrier. I would rather have the defense, and it gives insane. So this is most important skill. So Will Breaker, Precision Dash, and Immortal Pride is a must to have. Next up, the must to have is Da Vinci. You want to have Da Vinci, especially if you're using Grey Eyes Sword. But if you're not using Grey Eyes Sword, Da Vinci is one of the most important skills to use. Have Defect Duration on. You can have DR on, but I don't like damage reduction that much. I think it's a waste of 7 skills, and then you can have Recover Health by 200% for the insta heal. So this is really nice. So Da Vinci is a must to have. Counter Barrier is a must to have. With Counter Barrier, you can get insane amount of shield block chance, which you want as a tank. Now you can have this one on while Counter Barrier lasts. The base damage increases by 5%. It's always nice to have extra damage, but overall, really Counter Barrier is really good to have. So I would just use the normal Counter Barrier and not the Concentrated Barrier for PvE. And then the also main important skill is Provoking Roar. With Provoking Roar is how you hold aggro. If you use Provoking Roar, I don't know if all of these 3 are necessary, but I just use it to make sure that I have aggro. But these are the things you want to have on Provoking Roar, these 3 skills, and this will let you have aggro. If you're next to the boss and you click one of these skills, you will take aggro instantly. So Provoking Roar is your aggro skill. You also want to start a fight. You hit the boss and you start with Provoking Roar. That's how you hold aggro in this game. Provoking Roar is how you take aggro from a different tank. Provoking Roar is how you take aggro. You can also take aggro with like Chain Hook and stuff, but Provoking Roar is the one that is 100% secure, and then you follow up with damage. Next up, with one of the most important skills is Blood Devotion. You want to have a Devoted Sanctuary, Blood Devo, and the ones you want to have is you want to have 1 2, and 4. This will increase your base damage with linked targets by 10%. So it's changed now. Instead of increasing overall damage or whatever it was before, it increases base damage by 10% to the linked target. So it gives insane amount of damage boost because we have really high base damage and it gives you even more base damage. You can have transfer damage if it's really hard, but I would just go for the damage boost. So give people a buff. You can't. I wouldn't usually go for the cooldown reduction on this. Sorry, my camera is here. And the reason why I wouldn't do it is because usually in a fight, people are putting deadly markers. So in PvE, the cooldown decreases automatically. And now we have the debuff where you can only give Devo and the barrier. What do you call it? Counter barrier, stalwart bastion. Sorry, barrier. I don't want to say barrier. You can only give it every 45 seconds, so there's no need to have the cooldown decrease, in my opinion, if you have people using deadly markers. And that leads me to the last skill, which is the Righteous Fury. You want to be using this as the damage, skill damage boost. It can boost everybody's damage. They did nerf it. It lasts for less time now, which is not really nice, but overall, good to have. Just put the Righteous Fury skill damage increase on. You don't need it. The DR is really low. You can pair it up if you're dying. If you're blood devoing and you're dying, you can pair it up with Stalwart Bastion, but overall, just use the damage boost. So these are the main important skills. Again, are Will Breaker, you want to have Precision Dash, Immortal Pride, Da Vinci, Counter Barrier, Provoking Roar, Devoted Sanctuary, and Righteous Fury. You can change out Guillotine if you want to. You can change out Ascending Slash. You can change out Death Blow. You can change out Cruel Smite, but those are the main important skills. When it comes to the passive, you want to have Victorious Morale because of the healing through the Mastery. You want to have Resilient Mind for the mana regain and the shield when you block. It's really nice. You want to have AG Shield. It's nice to have. Shield damage reduction. I like to use Barbarian Dash because I like the movement speed and running fast. I like it very much. Robust Constitution and Vital Force, of course. You want to have. Actually, this is nice because you get skill damage boost and stuff, but it's not necessary. But I would use Vital Force for sure. Indomitable Armor. You can swap some out if you're running dungeon or something that has a lot of mobs. You can swap out with something with Impenetrable. You can also swap out with Cold Warrior for more damage. It's up to you, but this is what I would use. You can also use Raging Frenzy, for example, but this is the passive that I use, and in my opinion, they work fine. I could swap certain things out for more tankiness and more damage, but overall, good balance here. This is my skills. Now, depending on your situation, you want to change certain skills. So when you're doing mobs, for example, you want to make sure you have Chain Hook with range. So usually when I do certain dungeon where I need to pull something, if I'm doing Rancor Wood, for example, I need to pull an orb or push an orb, I would get Chain Hook. Chain Hook is really good to have for certain things. So then I will replace, not the important skills, I will replace probably like Death Blow or something. So I will replace Death Blow and I'll put like a hook on, like this. When I'm cleaning ads, one of the best things and way to hold aggro is with Shield Strike, Piercing Strike. Because with Counter Barrier and there's a lot of mobs on and Spectrum of Agony and your Masteries, you'll have almost no cooldown on your Piercing Strike. So when there's a lot of mobs and a lot of AoE you need to do, this will help you hold aggro too. If you have aggro and greatly increased damage targets are aggro, you can spam it on like hundreds of ads and they will all come to you. With the Counter Barrier. So I do think this is a good thing for mobs. So you can swap some things around, but just make sure you keep the most important skills. That's what I do. And I swap some skills around depending on the boss. So this is what I run for my skills. When it comes to your, and that's how you will hold aggro too, with Provoking Roar and being able to deal damage. As a tank's job, you want to have enough damage. You want to be enough tanky, but you also want to do damage. I think, even if you have aggro and you're not dealing any damage, usually what MMOs do in general, when it comes to aggro and threat generation, is you want to have the taunt skill, and then you want to have a damage multiplier. So if you're just taunting and not doing any damage to the boss or the mob, the aggro will go to big damage dealers. So you want to be sure you're doing damage. That's why we have Guillotine. That's why we have, for example, Cruel Smite and stuff. So you actually deal damage while you're threat generating, and that way you'll be able to hold aggro much more securely. So that's what I would do as a PvE enjoyer. My masteries now, I have to give disclaimer, I haven't changed my masteries at all for months. This works fine for me, and I think some of them I shouldn't be using right now, but the main important thing when it comes to masteries is this one is nice, restore stamina. I think some of these are bugged too, so I wouldn't use them. But Roar Amplifier is nice. Shield Strike is nice. It decreases defense a little bit, but in my opinion, it's overall really good. If you're using Shield Strike, it can give a little bit of damage. This one is okay to have. Increases sword active skill damage. But it's mainly for like the nodes. The nodes are really strong. And then Blade of Momentum you can use, but again, only if you're using Shield Throw or a 90 Slash, which I kind of am not during bosses. So it's up to you if you want to invest in this for ads and stuff, but they're only necessary if you're actually using one of the skills, which I'm not. So this is kind of useless for me right now. The main important thing is to have the perception one. Have the 2.2 strength here, 2 perception. Attack speed is nice. The shield block is good. Cooldown speed is good, so you can invest in these things if you want to. The Greatsword that I'm using is, of course, increased vital force maximum HP, which is nice. Victor's Morale now also 1% of skill damage as health, which is nice. That's why I've used Victor's Morale. This one is good for 2.4k extra HP. This one is Blade Harvest is really good because it will actually regen HP back when you're doing insane damage. Indomitable armor is okay, but you lose heavy attack. You don't want to be using this one because I heard if you have this one, the damage boost doesn't work. I don't know if it's a bug or whatever, but don't have this activated. This one is okay to have. The main important thing is like this is okay for PvE. I mean, it's not that often that you get critted anyways by bosses. Overall, like there's a lot of things, small things you invest in, but it's like some crucial one. You want to have like an attack speed. You want to have the max HP one, and then I think there's one more perception. Those are the main important things. And aside from that, you want to have power grip too, because this will it's up to you here. Honestly, power grip, you will lose half the HP, which is 1.2k, but you will get more damage boost. So getting power grip is, in my opinion, could be really good to have. So probably get that in here. Aside from that, not too much to say about the masteries. You can play around with most of these masteries, but there's just some essential ones that you want to have. That's the masteries. Artifacts, I have gone for the ancestral armor piece for the HP increase. The HP is nasty. You want to try see if you can get the base, which is here, the max HP ones, and not the defense ones. If you can get the max HP ones, you get insane amount of HP. I'm sitting around 48k HP right now. I can get even more if I swap all my resonant effects here to max HP. I will get insane amount of max HP. When it comes to your runes that I use is, of course, same thing, max HP, melee heavy attack chance. I'm probably going to swap this out for like skill damage boost because I have enough melee heavy attack chance. But it's up to you if you use melee attack chance or skill damage boost. Same here, you can see for my PvE stuff, I use boss melee heavy attack chance or boss damage, max HP. This one I only have stun chance because of the rune level, but I would use skill damage resist or a chaos rune if you have a good chaos rune. Again, bind resist because it's high level, I wouldn't use it, but max health, boss heavy, melee heavy attack chance, max HP, boss melee heavy attack chance, boss melee heavy attack chance. Remember, the melee heavy attack chance always give higher stats than normal heavy attack chance. If you look at just boss heavy attack chance, you will see it gives 51, but this one gives 66 because I'm a melee player. I don't have like a wand, so I don't need heavy attack chance. But if I had like a melee weapon and a wand, a magic weapon, I would probably go for normal heavy attack chance. But if you double melee, go for the melee heavy attack chance. Same here. And then same here for the synergy. I go for the attack speed. Attack speed is nasty in PvE. You want to have attack speed. But that is like my PvE build. I'm going to link the build below so if you guys can check it out. But that is how I play PvE. Again, people can have other opinions. People can design their build differently, but this works for me. I mean, I could tank everything completely fine. I don't have issue tanking anything in this game. PvE wise, I don't have a problem holding aggro, and if I'm alone, I don't have a problem killing something that has low HP left because I have damage too. So I just think it works really good for everything that you need. But thank you guys so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Let me know what you would change in your build. Check out this video right here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.